We can get started. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alan Richard. I'm the managing broker at Maximum Realty and Realtor Partners.
My name is Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum Realty and Realtor Partners.
And this is the real estate backstory. Every week, we kind of go over the ins and outs, ups and downs of the real estate market here in the Atlanta area. And so every Monday at 9 a.m., we get rolling, and we love to have special guests. And so today we are blessed to have David King with Arrow Exterminators with us. Hey, David, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Very good. Very good. So thanks so much for joining us. One of the reasons that we really wanted to be able to talk to you is we are in a bit of a crazy market, and we're seeing a lot of our buyers that are kind of, waiving what we would call normal, like
standard stipulations.
Pest control, termite letters, things like that. Tell me, what are you seeing on that front? How's that affecting your business? Because, at least in my thought process is that this is probably the absolute worst time to not be worrying about termites. Could you tell us kind of, that's kind of your intro. So I'll let you take it from there.
No, you guys are 100% right. I agree completely. The one thing you don't want to do is skip that inspection, no matter what the contract calls for or anything else. So the important thing to remember is termites are going to be there or they're not going to be there. So that really doesn't change what the structure of the offer is. I encourage all realtors in particular to encourage your clients to get the inspection. At least even if you don't want to deal with it in a due diligence period or it's not part of the contract, you can deal with it after they move in and you have some knowledge of it. Particularly with Arrow as an example, we offer incentives to you guys as realtors, to your clients, to do this during the real estate transaction. So they can get preferred pricing, even if they want to wait a few months after they close on the house and address other issues that they may have, when they bought it as is, let's say. Right. So the important thing to remember about our industry is almost anyone will give you a free inspection. You can call anybody up, doesn't have to be Arrow, and you can get some kind of understanding of what's going on with the property. Really, where the caveat comes in is if we do a Georgia wood infestation report as part of the real estate closing, as part of the due diligence and the inspection process, then we have to, mandated by the state, offer a 90-day warranty on those 5 organisms. So there's a cost associated. I can speak to Arrow. We're $50, and your client gets a 90-day warranty that in the event something happens, they're covered. They don't come out of pocket for anything. And that's something that is regulated by the Georgia Department of Agriculture, which we all pay taxes into to protect the consumer. So with that being said, just because you want to be competitive in an offer situation, and that's just one less thing you want to attach to the offer, I still say get the inspection 100%. And then if there's an issue moving out, because none of us want a month or two after we close on a house to have the homeowner come back and go, hey, we should have got this done because now XYZ is out there telling me I have termites and I have all these issues. At least you address that on the front end and they can make a decision whether they want to deal with it then or post closing. So
are you starting to see that? Because I know that, we're going to have some other folks coming on, like from home warranties and that kind of stuff coming up in the upcoming weeks. And we already know that there's some issues where, I'm not going to say it's buyer's remorse necessarily, but where there is folks that are having to, because they didn't protect themselves on the initial buy, they're having to try and fix a problem that got worse because it wasn't addressed from the beginning. Are you seeing a lot of that?
I am. And so just for everybody on here, I'm a licensed realtor too, and I do practice. So I see both sides of this, and we all realize too, a lot of our clients are taking a considerable amount of the cash available to them to maybe even go over purchase price. So maybe if you don't know that stuff up front, it doesn't allow you the flexibility to fix things afterwards. So it's just a consideration, but certainly in that market, as I travel around and teach CE courses and things of that nature, I'm taking the same approach you guys are, and that, be knowledgeable about this because it is happening more often out there. People are waiving all sorts of inspections during due diligence, which I don't encourage, but that's everybody's own decision to make. But certainly, and then we hear people, I'd love to fix this right now, but I can't. And it's one thing to pay for the treatment, but having an idea of even though we don't go around and say you have X amount of damage, you'll have to get a contractor to really give you that kind of an estimate. You still got a ballpark idea of it's something that's maybe cosmetic, something that's easily addressed, or do I have some structural issues I may have to deal with that could be pretty costly.
Right.
And so I certainly, as a homeowner, would want to know that on the upfront, before I close on the property.
Or do you actually have a live infestation kind of thing? Because
100%.
sometimes there's damage in there, but are the termites active? Are they chewing on my house at the moment?
Exactly. Nobody wants that. So
yeah.
So from compliance standpoint, I mean, termite is very prevalent here in South, and it's not, if you have termite, is when you're gonna have termite, especially you don't have a bond. So from compliance standpoint, just because you waive your rights to clearance letter, home warranty, whatever, it is always buyer's right to have inspection, to have those inspection completed, and so they can move forward knowing exactly what's their plan of action in attaining those goals. And as far as if there's no issue, there's no issue. But if there's
Yep.
issue, at least they're going in with their eyes wide open, knowing what the problem are and what needs to be fixed. So just because the buyers are waiving their right in the contract to make it clean, to make it competitive, which we all understand that right now, but don't do your buyer a disservice by not addressing the issue and then become a much more issue down the road.
Well, and one other thing that we've seen is where we are making an offer and making a very clean offer, but now it's $50 to get that termite letter, I'm sorry, the wood infestation report. I know you guys are really particular about how
we can call it termite letter,
way, but at least for $50, that is that's a level of insurance that you can't get for $50.
Correct.
And so even if you are gonna waive some certain things, if you're not going to make the seller do it, at least as the buyer, still get your wood infestation report to really know what's going on with the property.
And that, because you're going in such a clean offer, you're waiving a lot of rights. Just because you're waiving the rights on the contract doesn't mean you need to waive your rights and your due diligence and inspection.
Well, and something that we're seeing a lot of too is people moving in from different parts of the country that really don't have the termite activity and pressure we do in the South, particularly in Georgia. So as realtors, it's our part to educate. You're moving to a new area. What's different about this than where I come from in New York or New Jersey or someplace like that? Well, certainly termites occur a lot more prevalent down here. So that's part of the equation too, is we're getting a lot of out-of-state people at the moment, an influx of out-of-state people, and just something to keep in consideration for what we do for a living,
Absolutely. All right, well, David, thank you very much for joining us. Is there anything else that you that you want to throw out there for us?
No, just you guys. I hope everybody has a wonderful week and enjoy the Memorial Day holiday coming up. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you guys very much.
Take care.
All right, well, let's get moving forward. So this week we have a ton of education going on, and you can find it all at mx1training.com. So on Tuesday, we have marketing for realtors, and that is going to, and so this week marks the beginning of our live and virtual CE classes. We're doing the hybrid thing. And so on Tuesday, the 25th, we have marketing for realtors. That's at our Airport South location and virtual. On Wednesday, I'm teaching here in our McDonough office, determining market value. That's basically how I do a CMA. And so in there, I do a CMA in both Georgia MLS, in FMLS, and on Cloud CMA. And if we have time, I'll pull one up in RPR. On Thursday, we have Nancy Barlow, and she's going to be in our Fayetteville office teaching Mortgage 101, and she'll be virtual. So all these classes are live and in virtual. And then we have a virtual also only class on Thursday. Mobile apps, virtual tools, and digital marketing is also coming up on Thursday.
So a lot of great CE classes coming up. Please take advantage of it, because some of those tools and apps is only going to help you and speed up your time and efficiency.
So right now you're hearing a lot of folks talking about being in a housing bubble, and are we in a housing bubble? And what we want to do is give you 7 reasons why we're not in a housing bubble. Okay. Because you know, like if you go out and you look at the number one search term in real estate is the housing market going to crash? Are we in a bubble? So let's just kind of address this, because what I want is that you have the knowledge and the experience to really be able to educate your clients wisely on this topic. You know, we see people are like, well, I'm just going to wait for things to drop. I'm waiting for that. And
we have a lot of client right now is taking a break from search, and honestly,
it's going to hurt them.
Yeah, and
so you know, let's kind of address these. So the very first one is low inventory. We have amazingly low inventory, and of course we are down about 50% from last year, but we know where last year was. We're also down 20% from 2019 just on the number of homes available out there. So we have a really low inventory level at the same time. The second one is we have a lack of supply. We have not been building houses for the last 10 years. We have been a deficit in housing. Now,
well, and that's caused by the downturn market, where at one point we were sitting on 3 years of inventory on permits. So, you know, at one point we were permit rich. Now that's not the case anymore.
Well, but the bottom line is that we have not built, for the last 10 years, we haven't built enough houses to keep up with the current demand over those 10 years. So we're running on a 10-year deficit on housing. And before those 10 years, only 2 years prior to that had we actually built enough housing. So we're really running on like 16, 18 years of a housing deficit. The third is millennials, and millennials in a good way. This is not where we're bashing on millennials, but right now the largest buying segment is millennials, and they're all 28 years old. But our first time buyer age is 33. So over the next 5 years, the millennials will be continuing to put more pressure on the housing market as they move into the buying range. Our fourth one is that mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are amazing. We saw a slight uptick this past week, but the mortgage rates are still amazingly low. I remember my parents first bought their home at like
16%,
something ridiculous kind of thing.
It was crazy.
Yeah. The next reason that we're not in a house in a bubble is we have much different lending standards. A lot of times people immediately go back to 2008 and say, well, what about this and what about that? Look, when we were, I mean, we were here in 08, right? And everybody was the Oprah of real estate. Like, and you can get a house and you can get a house. If you get a Pulse, you get a house too. Like that's just how it was. And so the lending standards were very different now from where they were back then.
I mean, back then there's no doc lending, and all the investors got to do is produce X amount down payment, and they got a loan. There was no docs.
Yeah, fog a mirror, get a loan. That was kind of it.
Pretty much.
So also right now we have one of the lowest percentages of homeowners underwater ever. All right, we, you know, granted part of that is due to the appreciating market for sure, but overall Americans have really been saving, and that also means that we haven't been taking, Americans in general have not been taking equity out of their homes. So the last thing,
if nothing else, I mean, Americans refinancing and getting a better interest rate, and therefore, guess what? Their disposable income has increased. Due to that. And then last one is Corona fear easing.
You know, we're not getting into the whole, you know, vaccinate, don't vaccinate, but the bottom line is more and more Americans are getting vaccinated. As they do that, that is really helping to ease a lot of the fears and a lot of the issues with coronavirus kind of thing. So
what we're seeing right now in the market is that buyer goes crazy, extreme to win a home. I seen where escalation clause is ridiculous, where it's 10,000 above the highest bidder,
or 30.
Well, no, that's escalation clause.
Oh, okay.
And then we have appraisal guarantee, where is anywhere from 5 to 30. I seen one that was around about 70,000.
Yeah.
70,000, y'all. That's a lot of money.
Right. So, you know, we really want to talk to you briefly is how do we help our clients not hate their home kind of thing? Because, you know, rushing to buy a home can lead to regrets. And I don't want ever to represent someone and then them hate it. or, and we've had friends that have become house poor, and that's never a really great thing to become, kind of thing. And so, yes, we have record low mortgage rates. We have a lot of things going on that really are here to benefit our buyers. But there's also the opportunity for buyer's remorse. And as a, like, I think if you really care about people and you care about the housing market, I don't want someone that I represent, and I don't want someone that you represent to really hate their home, to regret it. So what we'd like to offer some advice on how can you guide your clients to not hate your house. And so the very first thing is get them pre-approved well before they start looking for a home. We find that one of the biggest areas where people have regrets is when they find the house, they go get pre-approved, they do whatever they can to get that house, and now they're house poor. They didn't understand the payments before then. There was just so much. So getting your clients pre-approved, working with a really quality lender that's gonna explain, like, this is your payment, because our buyers today are buying on payment. They're not buying on price. And being able to share what those payments are really going to represent, it really helps to set your buyers up well ahead of time so that they don't regret it. One of the second ones is to make sure that we're being honest and truthful about the budget and about what they're doing on the pricing. So we have a client that whose top price right now is $150,000. Used to be those clients would look at $160,000, $170,000 houses. Now we're looking at $120,000 and $130,000 houses, because it's not that,
it's a bit
different
more.
Market right
on
now.
The average is 20 for that price range, 20 to even 30, 40,000 above the list price. So don't be surprised, and educate your clients so they know what to prepare. I will even partner up with the lender, say, hey, listen, I know this is what they're comfortable at, but will you let them know how much would it cost for additional $25,000? Not that I'm trying to push them, not that I'm trying to make them house poor, but just kind of let them know so they can gauge what tiers that they can go into without the sticker shock and then the frustration. I have heard a lot of agents telling me right now that their buyers taking a break right now simply because the market is just that tough.
Well, and that worries us, because if you're waiting for the market to change, it's only going to continue to appreciate, and we're going to show you more data about that as well, kind of thing. So the third one that we want to recommend for all our buyers is that they see the house before they make an offer. A lot of your listing agents are not even allowing you to submit blind offers right now. And so while I know that was a tactic for a while, we're seeing where, there's a definite knee-jerk reaction going on for the listing agents right now, because there was so many blind offers out there. And then what would happen is by the time they actually go and see the house,
and what happened, photographer are getting really, really good.
Yeah.
You have a lot of gloss up picture which shows the minor defects or the uncleanliness of the home doesn't show up in the picture. Everything looks very glossy. So once a buyer walks in the door, the picture does not describe the actual home itself. So, this is where you get a lot of TNR within 1 to 3 days, maybe after contract, because the buyer's having remorse over what they feel like they have overbid on the property.
Yeah. Next one is don't waive inspections. You can shorten time frames, and if it's a seller that's not willing to offer any inspections, well, then that needs to be a very serious conversation you have with your buyers. For us, our general recommendation is that's probably not going to be the right house for you. This is going to be your largest investment. I don't recommend anyone waives inspections. Now I'm not saying that the seller will actually pay for anything. I realize that the market that we're in, but to go in and just be blind and find out that there is a roof issue, or there is a structural issue, if there is these big ticket items that are just unknowns, do you have water in the crawl space, that kind of thing that could be just massive. Don't waive inspections. Shorten your time frames.
I mean, even if you got to do 1 or 2 days, have a good inspector on hand that can do it immediately. And when you have zero due diligence period, guess what? the earnest money is good as gone as the day you
Yep.
sign the offer. Okay. Once it's binding, that earnest money is good as gone. Now, someone asked me, so what happens if the buyer never turn in the earnest money? Well, the holder has to give notice to all parties, letting everybody know
Mhm.
the buyer has defaulted.
Yep.
Now, just because the holder sent out the notices does not mean the buyer get away scot-free, because the seller can take the buyer to a court
Yep.
and sue them for earnest money.
Yes. All right. Next thing is consider home warranty. But I think in a couple of weeks we're gonna have Scott Eves from Over Republic's going to be with us. But
Hey, Scott.
and he's going to be talking to us about right now a home warranty is not a get out of jail free card, and I don't mean it like that. But we do believe, like we believe in home warranties because they do offer protections for our clients. But if you don't get an inspection on the home and you don't know that those systems are operating, and then the day after you close, you go out and try and buy a warranty, and then you want to try and have them replace the HVAC, well, buckle up, Buttercup. That ain't happening. So, but on the other side of that, we do believe in home warranties, and we believe in because it's one of the best things that we can do to protect our clients,
especially in today's climate when when your client's waiting so much of their rights.
Yeah, and then the last thing is that for our buyers, one thing is that our buyers right now are getting into a frenzy, and it becomes more about the win than about the house. It's about just like, I have to win, this has to be it kind of thing. And
well, and what happened,
we got to keep them grounded.
They lose perspective.
Yep.
And what happened is, once they have time to calm down and think about what they just done, and this is where buyer remorse are being shown. When you have a property under contract, within a day it's back on the market. And just because you have cash offer, let me tell y'all something, a lot of your cash offer are backing out after they're under contract, because what happened is they're submitting all these offers, they're not doing their due diligence and marketing analysis. And once they know they're under contract, they have X amount of day to back out, they start doing their homework. And then sometimes they realize, hey, our formulation is incorrect and we need to back this out because it's not where it needs to be.
Yep. All right. So moving forward, we got a new report came out. The American home sales is expected to hit a record in 2021. We're forecast to hit 2.53 trillion, which is the highest record ever. Now, what's that mean for, I don't know, the South? Guess who's leading the way? Here in the South, we are
1.09 trillion.
Yeah, 1.09 trillion. So the South is really going to be leading annual value here. So we have some really great appreciation, yes. But when you compare our home prices to a lot of the places around the U.S., this is going to be one of those areas where we are going to continue to lead out all the way through, especially through 2021, 2022, because we have a lot more range to go in there. There's great value here in the South. And so for us in the business, these are really great numbers and really great news for us to see how, our industry's faring moving forward, kind of thing. So now, also, Lawrence Yun, the chief economist for NAR, and so he put out some new numbers this past week, which was just looking at the economy growing at about 4.5%. And so for our economy to be growing at 4.5% is just phenomenal.
Absolutely.
For 2021 kind of thing, coming from where we are to where we're heading to, kind of thing. Now, overall, the predictions is that average home median prices are going to be leveled out at about 7%. Now, we've been running double digits for the last 10 months.
Yes.
But understand that we're coming back around to a full cycle. And so we're not going to keep running double digits over last year. And you will see all kinds of people kind of losing their mind that housing market's cooling off, kind of thing. But really that's not realistic, because what we're seeing is that, 10 months ago, or for 10 months, we were running double digits. Even, last year it was up about 3 or 4%, and then 7, 8% before it started moving in the double digits. We're going to start coming up against those numbers last year. And that's where we're going to, and yes, we are going to continue to still see price appreciation. And it's not sustainable at that rate. So I'm actually glad that prices aren't going that much higher, because it's not, like wages aren't moving at 17% higher. No one's making 17% more this year than they did last year. And so that's not healthy for our industry. So I'm glad to see us really looking back into single digit growth and that kind of thing.
So what that means is that it is really a great time to sell right now. If you have clients that's on the fence
and buy kind of thing,
please encourage them.
I did want to touch on this really quick. And so like you'll see that existing home sales was 19% over 2021. I mean, over 2020 this year. At the same time, we're going through 3 months of home sales falling. Why is that? And it really comes down to one word: inventory. We don't have enough houses.
Correct.
And so as inventory as we start lightening up on inventory, that's what's going to be going on. So we are having higher dollar-wise transactions, but we're having less of them because we don't have as many houses to buy, kind of thing. That's one that will really kind of push us forward as we move into here. There was another new study that came out this past week, and it was talking with our home sellers. And what are our home sellers expecting? And right now we kind of want to touch on the fact that
expectation versus reality.
Right, exactly. But also what are our sellers looking for? So first of all, a majority, like 54% of our sellers right now, are expecting a bidding war. They are expecting multiple offers on their property. Now, what this goes back to is to make sure that we are still valuing property in the right way. So if the majority of our sellers are expecting higher than list price and they're expecting multiple offers, can we go out and put a ridiculous price tag on a home
and then expect to be above price?
No, you can't, kind of thing. So, we're seeing that the expectation of our sellers is that not that we should be undervaluing the property. I don't mean that at all. And kind of what we're seeing is if you just value on any of the recent comps and you kind of can go over those comps, that's really a good way to be. But you've still got to know your market. But our sellers are expecting multiple offers. Our sellers are expecting higher than list price. So if that's their expectation, and let's say the house is worth 300 and you decide to list the home at 340, are you going to be meeting expectations? Chances are no.
Probably you'll meet expectation and list price, but you may not get much more above that.
Yeah. So, right now, of those folks who are planning to sell, about 29% of our sellers plan to list their home for more than they think it's worth. About half, 53%, to expect to
get at least their listing price,
and then about 25% expect more than that, kind of thing. But that means that about a third of our sellers are expecting to overprice their homes, and this is not good in this market. And yes, I know this is a seller's market, and we're seeing all kinds of stories and the whole 9 yards run. But the bottom line is, we are still seeing the houses that are getting stigmatized because they're coming out with ridiculous, stupid prices. And if you're letting your buyer or your sellers dictate that without showing them the data, you're not doing them any service. You're not going to be meeting expectations. You're not going to be exceeding expectations. You're not going to be doing them anything good. I mean, those houses, we still see houses that are sitting on the market for too long that aren't getting the exposure they want because they are ridiculously priced.
I mean, once again, NAR status search in the past is that if you have a listing and within 2 weeks have a lot of showing but no offer, you list too high.
Yep.
And if you have no showing in the first 2 weeks or very few and no offer, you're listed too high. And that's the bottom line.
Yep. So on Realtor.com survey, they went and asked, what percentage of our sellers expect to get their asking price. Over, like I said, 53% are expecting to get their asking price.
And 16% expect the bidding war.
Yep, which is fun.
Oh yeah.
Kind of thing. And so we just wanted to share this data with you about what we're seeing going on out there. And as well as what the expectations are, because I want to be able to meet expectations for what our clients are looking for. So overpricing homes right now, that's not the right way to go.
No.
All right. So mortgage rates are up this week. So we went through 4 weeks and we are still, I can't say we're under 3 because we are at 3 on the dot kind of thing. And so, you know, mortgage rates are still an amazing rate right now. You know, the Fed, you know, there's definitely been some fears, you know, especially about inflation moving forward, but the Fed wasn't that worried about it right now. They hope that it's a short-term bubble. But at some point, if inflation does rear its ugly head, what we're going to see is that the Fed changes their bond buying policy, which will make rates go up. And this is why, yes, prices are up. It's a great time to be a seller. This is also a really, really good time to be a buyer. You can move on. We are not going to see interest rates like this again in our lifetime. I really don't think we will. And so, you know, this is the time to be a really, you know, to take advantage of these interest rates because we're not going to see it again. You know, the other thing is that, you know, while we're talking about mortgages, yes, we saw a spike in delinquencies after the pandemic. But if you look at where mortgage delinquencies are versus the historical trend, you can see that this is
actually lower.
Right. And so, yes, some people will say, well, that's the mortgage, that's the moratorium, that's the forbearance. Yes, it is. But here's the big deal. 60% of folks in forbearance have over $60,000 in equity in their home. So, you know, this is not the same market as it was in 08 kind of thing.
Well, or also a year ago, their equity last year this time is not the same as this year this time. I see where about, especially for, I guess, a lower end purchase home where it was valued at 150, it is now 200 and 210. So just based on the timeline within a year, these people have gained anywhere from 40 to 60, $75,000 in equity.
So overall, the national delinquency rate dropped below 5% in April. So we are at really some historically low trends. So one, don't look for any inventory coming out of the delinquencies, and don't think that this is what's going to, that you know,
I mean, there are
you have buyers thinking, oh, there's always going to be some.
There are some HUD and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, but let me tell you, there may be onesie, twosies. And not only that, you're still going against the same amount of buyers as bidding on that same property.
The average HUD home's getting almost 40 offers on it right now. So yeah, it is pretty crazy. At the same time, you know, rents, you know, we saw a drop in rents during the pandemic. Well, that's pretty much over. You can see that rents is on a huge uptick. And so in the housing industry, that's really good for us in a lot of ways. One is, you know, if it becomes cheaper, well, if it becomes cheaper to rent than it does to buy, then that's not really good for the housing market. And the other thing is that, you know, as you know, we also have a lot of our friends and clients are landlords. And so that means that their investment is banking even more kind of thing. So, you know, I don't want to be mean to renters. I don't mean that in a negative way per se.
But it is cheaper to buy than it is to rent at this point. So whatever great rate you have a year ago, if you hang on to it, hang on to it. But I'm telling you, the rent market is so competitive right now. What an average, probably 1,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, fetching here in county is around about $1,700 a month. And so that's
with multiple people offering on it.
Yes. Yeah. So that's a lot of money, y'all.
Now we are seeing construction costs, not easy to say, but it's still out there, that are climbing right now. And that is leading to construction cooling. You know, the builders know that, you know, new homes right now are rapidly getting out of the entry level market. It's very hard to find that starter home in new construction right now. They know that. And so new construction, March versus April was down kind of across the board. Permits were up just a tick. Starts are down 10%. Completions are down almost 5%. And a lot of that's driven because right now, just pure cost for the builders, the average new construction home costs $36,000 more than it did a year ago on cost, not just what they're charging. And so, that's led to a whole lot of issues that we've all seen in the new construction market, with builders canceling contracts,
And
escalation clauses
right,
that we're seeing in there.
and realism at higher price. And understand, y'all, builder is here to make money. They're not here to take a loss. Just because they promise your buyer 6 months ago, this is the cost of that new construction. They all have escalation clauses. They all have a get out of jail for free clause in there, where they can terminate, refund the buyer all their earnest money and upgrades, and walk away.
Yep. In addition, we have appliance and furniture shortages causing even more headaches right now. And so we bring this up for two reasons. One is it is causing some delays. We've had some new construction homes that literally couldn't close because they didn't have appliances, kind of thing, or HVAC, or the final HVACs to go in. But we've also had that on the residential side where, we needed appliances to seal the deal, and there's no appliances to be had. We've had where it's taken a month, 30, 60 days to get appliances in order for the financing to go through, because if it doesn't have a stove, it's not going to get FHA financing, that kind of thing. So, understand that these are issues that we have out there with that. One thing that we do want to recommend is that you take some time and get to really know new construction. I'm amazed how many agents really don't understand new construction really well, but a lot of it comes down to a lot of agents don't really work on knowing and learning and really being competitive on the knowledge side of new construction. Like right now, new construction is really going to be fueling our growth moving forward for the next, especially for the next 3 or 4 years. New construction is really going to be driving that. Nearly a quarter of all of all homes sell. So 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4 is going to be new construction. So if 25% of your business over the next few years is going to be new construction, my goodness, we should be well versed in being really good at understanding how the new construction process works. We still see agents who are like, well, I didn't know that if my buyer didn't use the builder's lender, that they're not going to pay closing costs. Yeah, that's out there across the board right now. And so, we have several CE classes, teaching new construction. There's a lot in the industry out there. Please, I implore you,
take advantage of it.
Go to the new construction neighborhoods, build relationships with the on-site agents, find out, what are in the contracts for the different builders, because every builder has a different contract. There's not very rare now for us to see new construction contracts. They're all pre-made. They're all being done by the builders, kind of thing. And so you got to know every single contract. Where the inventory is coming is not always shown out there on the MLS. Being able to go out and engage new construction neighborhoods, know where the inventory is. If you want to put yourself at an advantage with your buyers, know new construction, please. So right now, Google is, well, not just Google, but our tech firms, as weird as it sounds, guess who's leading the charge to get back into the office? Tech. Google, Amazon, all that kind of stuff. Now, they aren't pushing 9 to 5 in offices. Most of them are really looking at much more of a hybrid office mix. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, those kind of things. But the funny thing is that the tech firms are the ones that are leading the charge to go back to offices, and so we bring this up because we find that agents who come to the office do more business. It's the bottom line, because we sit around the house and the dog needs a bath. I need to go change the oil in the car. I should mow the grass. I should do blah 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 blah. 6 hours later, the house looks amazing and you haven't made a single phone call. Whereas you go to the office, what do you do when you go in the office?
Well, when you get out of habit of prospecting, it does impact your business. So, and not only that, after a while, you get a little rusty, and then you get this fear about, well, am I doing the right way, or am I doing a good job? And when you get your first 2 no's and you feel, little lack of confidence in what you're doing. So that's not a good position to be in. So, surround yourself with folks that are successful and that are out there prospecting every day, because that's what makes them great.
Yep. And then we're going to wrap up with this today, and that is the business characteristics of NAR. There is more realtors now than at any point in our history. So the membership for NAR is the highest point ever. But they also released some new data out there for about our group kind of thing, and so there's 24% of realtors that make less than $10,000. These are our part-timers. These are the folks who real estate is a hobby. Even if you're making under $25,000, we got almost a third of realtors make less than 20 grand. And so that's not great for our industry. No one's gonna survive on that. The good news is that for realtors that make over $50,000 account for almost half of all the realtors right now. Realtors with 16 years or more of experience average $75,000. Now the negative there is that's actually down from 2019. But I just want to kind of share with you like what are the average realtors doing right now? What does that look like? A couple other demographics kind of things. So the typical realtor is 54 years old, white female, attended college, owns a home kind of thing. 65% of all realtors are ladies. So ladies, you rule our business.
That's okay.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm totally fine with it kind of thing. 82% of realtors own their own residence. 37% own a secondary property. We always keep our best deals for ourselves, okay? In the tech side, one thing I found very, very strange was that 69% of realtors had a website. That means almost a third of realtors don't have a website. And I just can't, completely floors me.
If you look at it, according to your previous data, about 17% are part-timers. So if you knock that out, you still got a good group of folks that do not have a website. The shame is that Georgia MLS gives you free website. You need to advertise that. And
there's so many realtors that just have a silhouette of a head and a welcome coming soon on that page. So please take advantage of that. Now, NAR went out and asked the realtors and said, what's your number one challenge? And to no one's great surprise, lack of inventory across the board is the biggest challenge for residential agents is lack of inventory. After that, difficulty in finding the property. Then we get into affordability. I think we keep seeing pricing go up. Affordability is going to continue to be a big deal. So,
what's interesting, if you go back just real quick, I noticed that on the commercial, 37% in commercial is due to lack of inventory. Which is kind of amazing, because to me, during downturn market, office space were not looked upon as a desirable item because everybody's working from home. So just know the commercial's coming back as well.
Oh, always. Commercial normally follows residential about a year behind. So All right. So if you need more me time, you can hang out with us. We are on max1.rocks/chat. And so we'll be here if you need to ask any questions and just kind of hang out, shoot the bull, the breeze. That's a nice way to put it. So we appreciate you guys. If we can be of any service, please call, text, smoke signals. We answer it all. You guys have a great week.
Thank you. Have a fabulous Monday.